Hey guys, it's Girl Got Game. We are back with Hajime Saito, and it's time for his bad ending number 2. So we've loaded chapter 2 with low romance and high corruption, and this is the first choice. Our boy's having his first stargazing existential crisis about what it means to be a warrior changing forever. And this time we're going to say it's not like that. So let's do that. I don't think you're right to think that there's no honor left in serving as a warrior. Saito quietly stared back at me as I spoke. Inoue told me, a warrior would never turn his back on his promises, nor would he make a woman cry. Regardless of whatever generation of warrior exists, the values of honesty, kindness, and strength will always continue to be passed on. Or do you believe that these too will become obsolete in the new era? Again, Saito had no response, and instead he tepidly shook his head. Those doubts still seemed to linger within him. But Gun... His voice was barely audible. However, he did not complete his thought, and once more he glared at the empty nothingness above us. Never mind. His tone was, perhaps intentionally, more curt than usual. Maybe I was the wrong person to approach Saito about this kind of issue. Maybe so. Alright, and I forgot how quickly the bloodlust scene happened after this, again. So we make him endure it. This should be our alternate CG. Let's see. What should I do? Would he feel better if he drank blood? Or was medicine the better option? I stood there helplessly panicking, so I didn't either. It's fine. This is not my first experience. With time, it will calm down. His pale face was dripping with thick beads of sweat, but he did his best to feign calmness. However... Aww. Ow. It's like tearing his heart out. Poor boy. Go! A wave of excruciating pain seemed to hit him at once, and Saito dropped to his knees, practically collapsing in a desperate fit. Saito! Please, hang in there! I grabbed a hold of his body frantically. With every heavy, staggered breath, his shoulders would raise and drop in forced, repetitive motions. I watched Saito dig his fingernails into his chest to distract himself from the overwhelming agony. I had never seen Saito suffer so intensely as he was now. For someone like him who always displayed the utmost discipline to be grimacing so intensely, I could only begin to imagine how unbearably suffocating all of this must have seemed to him. Oh, God. Oh. Saito waved me away with his hand earlier so that I would ignore him, but between his breathing, his gritted teeth, and his strained groans, a futile attempt to downplay the pain, I was unsure how he could handle it at all. I could only wallow pathetically from the side, thinking of how I was unable to help in any way. All I could do was embrace him, and hope beyond any shred of doubt that he would be okay. Poor boy. Somehow made it through that episode. I'm trying to remember what happened in chapter 2. Oh yeah, Dad attacks with the Fury crowd. So he didn't get blood this time, and he gets spattered quite brutally coming up. And there was kind of a weird hitch in the gameplay that made me wonder if that was where the difference in endings happened. Like, he gets spattered, and then it kind of... I don't know, there was a weird hitch in the way he turned. His sprite changed. So I was wondering maybe that's where the difference is. I'll see. Coming up. It'll be soon if I'm correct. I feel like we're not going to get to the forest for our comforting hugs, unfortunately. But that is just a guess. Let's see. Okay, so telling us to run. And now we're being pursued. And using your powers in the day. Yeah, okay, it was around here. The music stopped. Ugh. His head was kept low, and the left hand that was gripping his sword went limp. What was going on? I had never once seen him appear so weak, especially right in the middle of a fight. Oh no. Oh! Sayato's lips were pursed ever so slightly, and I could hear the pain weigh heavily in his voice. Just as a groan escaped his lips. Saito swung with such swiftness and agency that it was barely visible. However, the force of the blade's path was so tremendously powerful that it was impossible to believe that it came from this weakened Saito. Saito slashed repeatedly at the fallen Fury, cutting into the flesh with a noticeable amount of spite. Each swing brought another wide splash of blood. Oh no! I never wanted to see him go crazy! Oh, it's so sad. Sheesh. My bean. Saito? What is wrong? You've already defeated the Fury. You need to hurry up and get out of here! But it was no use. Saito paid no attention to my desperate pleas. As his face was covered by compounding layers of blood, I began to see a smile, and not his nice smile. Oh no.
He has finally gone mad with all that blood, eh? How unfortunate. I had really hoped he would have been different from the other Furies.
A voice was heard from above me. I saw a figure perched atop a long tree branch. Then the figure dropped down and his tone sharpened more harshly than when he had spoken earlier. Poor Amagiri, he's so disappointed. Saito, how could you disappoint Amagiri?
If you're going to surrender your humanity anyway, then the least I could do for you is to end your life with my bare hands.
Within the span of a blink, Amagiri ducked low, crouching to hit Saito from below. As I saw Amagiri prepare himself to attack, my mind immediately envisioned the horrors of what could potentially ensue. No! Well, there she goes. She's leaping into action. I felt my feet practically fly from the ground as I burst forward to protect Saito.
No! Stop, Chizuru!
From behind me, I heard Father call out to me. But there was no way I could stop because Saito still hadn't noticed Amagiri coming for him. He hadn't realized that his left hand was worth more than the value of his penchant for death. He could live a life apart from swinging his sword. Until he discovered this truth, there was no way I could let him die. Just then, the gruesome sound of flesh being split apart cracked in my ears. Did I trip on a rock? My body was floating down ever so slowly to the floor. Huh? What happened? Pain throbbed horrifically over my left breast. Something warm began to trickle down my chest. Suddenly, numbness spread throughout my arms and legs, and I found myself unable to stand. Someone was standing above me, but my vision grew hazy, and I couldn't make out a face or discern who it must have been. However, Saito came back.
Yukimura.
In the end, the shape of his lips made an opening, and I heard my name echo above. Or was it all a dream? Was it all a dream? Fade to black. We'll never know. Huh. So Hajime went crazy. But her saving his life may have brought him back to sanity. But she could have been hallucinating the whole thing, so we don't know for sure. So Dad was there for that. Death didn't stop me. Well, yelled out to me, I guess. Amagiri was trying to be a bro. We weren't gonna let it happen. Well, that's awkward. I wonder what Hajime did after that. If he did actually come back. Okay, so he didn't directly cause her death by snapping. Very interesting. Okay. Still not a horrible bad ending. It was worse than the last one, but still manageable, I think. Okay. Do we have 2 more to go? I think we're halfway through, right? Yeah, 2 more to go. All right, let's move on to bad ending number 3.